beneath the curtains. Amara didn't notice it right away. In fact, it took months before she realized something was off. It started with small things, habits that were easy to brush off as coincidences or her own overthinking. But that was before the phone. Amara had built a life filled with love and routine. She and her husband lived in a charming suburban home with neatly manicured gardens and white picket fences, the kind of place where neighbors waved as they passed and children played freely in the streets. Their relationship had seen ups and downs over a decade of marriage, but they had always presented a united front to the world. Dinners shared at their kitchen table, laughter echoing through the halls, and dreams of a bright future. Until recently. Amara had shared her story with me, and to truly grasp the depth of what we uncovered, you need to hear it too. It was early this year when she first reached out. A quiet, composed woman with a steady calm you don't often see in these situations. Yet beneath that calm, I sensed something else. Fear, yes, but also dread. "I'm worried," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "It's about my husband." They'd been married for over a decade. Their relationship had seen its ups and downs, but it had always felt solid until recently. Until those moments when she'd walk into a room and feel like she'd interrupted something, met only with denial and silence. I'd see him on his phone, just sitting there, eyes fixed on the screen. At first, I didn't think much of it. We all spend time on our phones. But with him, it was different. The second I entered the room, he would lock it. Every time. Instantly. As if he were hiding something. She paused, her voice wavering, betraying her struggle to accuse him outright. At first, I thought, maybe I'm paranoid. I trust him. I really do. People have private things online. But this, it felt different. He looked scared when he saw me. The phone was something she could push aside, but the day in the garden was something she couldn't ignore. It was a Saturday, his day off. Amara had finished work early and thought she'd surprise him, maybe catch him relaxing or having an afternoon nap. But when she entered the house, it was empty. Quiet. She searched every room. Nothing. Then, through the kitchen window, she spotted him, standing at the bottom of the garden by the fence, his back turned to her. He looked stiff, tense, like a man bracing for something. At first, she thought nothing of it. But then, she heard it. A second voice. Low, soft, but unmistakable. He was talking to someone. Amara lingered by the window, her head almost pressed against the glass, straining to catch the words, but the conversation was hushed, as if they were deliberately keeping it hidden. It didn't sound like a woman's voice. When she walked outside, he turned slowly to face her, his expression unreadable. "Who are you talking to?" she asked, trying to sound casual, masking her suspicion with a light laugh. "No one," he replied, too casually. "Talking to yourself," she echoed, her voice light but probing. "No." His voice snapped, sharp and defensive. Amara just stared at him, her mind racing. She knew she'd heard another voice. She glanced through the fence, but it was empty. The neighbors were nowhere in sight. Why would he lie to her? She didn't confront him. She didn't know how, but that moment lodged itself in her mind. It gnawed at her. From that day forward, the suspicion took root. Was he hiding something or someone? Her first thought, like anyone's, was an affair. The secrecy, the strange excuses, it all pointed in that direction. But she didn't want to believe it. The thought made her sick. Amara wasn't one to sit by and wait. Her father used to call her a tornado, unstoppable once she set her mind on something. After that day in the garden, she began watching him closely. He was steady, predictable, work at the same time, home at the same time, weekends for chores or errands. His routine was normal, too normal. But it was the little things, the phone, the garden, the secrecy. She watched the way he would lock his phone the instant she walked in, fingers moving too quickly, the way his eyes darted to her, wide, as if caught in the act. She tried checking his phone, But every attempt hit a dead end. Locked. Unbreakable. Every password she tried failed. Finally, she couldn't take it anymore. That's when she called us. When Amara reached out, she was exhausted. I need to know what he's doing. And if there's someone else. Her voice trembled, but she wasn't looking for drama, just the truth, no matter how painful. Charlotte and I quickly agreed that the situation was unusual, setting up surveillance within days. Their house was a picture of perfection: manicured planters, long windows, and a chandelier that symbolized order. Yet, inside, something darker lingered. His routine made things easy for us. He was steady, predictable, coming home at the same time each day, his behaviour calm, almost robotic. But that predictability was unsettling. Beneath his carefully composed exterior, we could sense something was off. Each day, he would step out of his car and pause, head turning as his eyes scanned the street. Not just a glance. He was searching. Once inside, his behaviour grew stranger. He would go to the living room window, hands on the sill, peering through the curtains. His eyes would sweep the street one last time, and with precision, he'd close the curtains. The curtains stayed shut for hours. Whatever was happening inside that house, he was determined to keep it hidden. Weeks passed. We watched, documented everything. But he was too careful, too aware. Surveillance wasn't going to be enough. Then, one afternoon, Amara called, her voice resolute. "I'm going to get his phone," she said. She owned it. She had every right. But we both knew it wouldn't be easy. He guarded that phone like it held his life's secrets. But that day, fate intervened. He left the house without it. Amara didn't hesitate. She snatched it up, her hands trembling. She sent it to us, lying to him when he returned, pretending it was lost. The phone arrived, and I knew. This was it. The key to everything he was hiding. I began the download, a knot tightening in my stomach. I couldn't shake the feeling this wasn't just an affair. He was too careful, too guarded. The first sweep, nothing. "Can't you find anything?" Charlotte asked, breaking the silence. "No," I muttered, frustration gnawing at me. This isn't right. He was hiding something. I could feel it. "Run it again," Charlotte urged. I went deeper, into the layers most people never see. There's something here. There has to be. Then, a flicker. "Wait," I murmured, my heart in my throat. "There's something?" I found a calculator app. Innocuous, harmless, the kind of thing you'd expect to see on any phone, but this wasn't standard. Who adds another calculator? This wasn't just a calculator, it was a mask. My instincts buzzed. I got to work, wires and equipment spread around me. It was like disarming a bomb. One wrong move and everything could vanish. Gone. I couldn't let that happen. The app cracked open. What I saw made my heart race, then sink. Files, photos, messages, hidden behind harmless numbers and symbols. He had buried this, whatever it was. The scope of it went far beyond any affair. Now you'll have to use your imagination, because I won't say exactly what I uncovered. What I will say is that it was worse than anything I'd ever imagined. The kind of thing that turns your stomach, that makes you sick. The images came fast, too fast. I felt nausea hit me hard. This can't be real. My hands froze as the reality sank in. Horrible, vile. How could someone do this? I could barely keep my focus. This is what that monster had been so desperate to hide. As the disturbing images flickered across my screen, I felt my stomach churn. Each photo was more shocking than the last, graphic evidence of heinous intentions hidden beneath layers of deception. This wasn't just infidelity or secret conversations. It was a meticulously crafted plan that could lead to chaos and destruction. I turned to Charlotte, voice tight, shaking. "You need to see this." She glanced over, then away, devastated. "Oh no," she whispered, her head in her hands. We both knew what had to happen next. But the download, it wasn't done. Stopping now could erase everything. My mind drifted to Amara. She thought he was having an affair. But this? The truth would destroy her. How could she bear it? Charlotte read my mind, saying, "She deserves to know." I watched the download bar progress, my heart racing. I had kept the images blurred. I couldn't take any more, but even so, there were enough details to make out the horrors behind them. The torment was nearly over. Charlotte was on the phone with the police as the download neared completion. Then, I noticed something else. Another folder, hidden deeper within. Messages exchanged between him and a man named Sean. My heart sank. I opened the messages. "No," I said aloud, unable to contain my disbelief. "No more." They had been talking for months, and what they discussed was a nightmare unfolding in text. They were planning to take out a plane, and soon, by the looks of it. What in God's name was going on? I had prepared for many things during my time as an investigator, but this was far beyond anything I could have ever imagined. My mind raced, scrambling to comprehend the gravity of the situation. The thought of innocent lives being at risk sent a chill down my spine. The visual evidence was damning. Images of flight paths, sketches of airport layouts, and even a list of potential targets flashed before my eyes. My heart pounded as I tried to piece together the fragments of information swirling in my mind. This was not merely about a person hiding their life. It was about someone plotting to wreak havoc on an unimaginable scale. How could someone live a double life to this extent? How could they hide such monstrous intentions behind a facade of normalcy? The images lingered in my mind, haunting me like ghosts of impending doom. The reality of what I was seeing settled heavily on my shoulders. I was not only facing the truth of betrayal, but the horrifying possibility that these actions could have catastrophic consequences. This was no longer just about Amara's heartache, it was about lives hanging in the balance. The download finished just as the police arrived, storming in, understanding the gravity of what lay ahead. A small weight lifted from my shoulders as I handed over the phone, but those haunting images would linger in my nightmares long after. That evening, I called Amara. It was the hardest call I'd ever made. She answered, voice hollow. I could almost hear the tears hitting the floor. "What do you say to a woman whose life has been ripped apart?" She explained that the police had taken him, her husband, that thing who called himself her husband. Just a few hours earlier, a broken voice asked, "How could he do this to me?" She told me her parents were with her, which gave me some comfort, but then she closed off, as if she couldn't find the words. I offered my condolences, though I wasn't sure she even heard me. This wasn't just about infidelity or hidden secrets, it was darkness beyond understanding. Processing this would take years for her, if she ever truly could. Amara had uncovered things she didn't think possible, and her life as she knew it was over. If she ever hears this story, she will know it's hers. I hope she knows she did more than find her truth. She saved lives. She exposed a monster, and I pray that one day she'll find peace. As for him, he'll pay for what he did and what he planned, but that won't erase the pain or bring back what's lost. And maybe, just maybe, Amara can find the strength to move forward and the happy ending she deserves. In the depths of deception, we often discover our true selves. When the truth finally emerges, it can shatter the world we thought we knew. But from that rubble, we find the strength to rise again, to reclaim our lives, and to stand resolute against the darkness. Thank you for listening to today's episode. We hope you found the story engaging. As always, names and locations have been changed to protect the identities of those involved. If you, or someone you know, are in need of professional investigative services, please don't hesitate to visit southwalesprivateinvestigations.co.uk. We're here to help when you need us the most, and once again, thank you for your support. We truly appreciate it.